What's up, Moto Buddies? Mike here from Taco Moto Co. We have a complete fuel pump assembly. This is out of a 12 through 23 Enduro model bike, and the customer had complained that there was some intermittent operation on the fuel pump, that it was cutting in and out, and he thought it was the pump motor itself. And it has the stock OEM motor, which we'll be swapping out if we go through the trouble of having somebody send us in their entire pump assembly and it has anywhere near around 200 hours. We're going to recommend a pump replacement, so we'll do that. The customer had everything apart because he ordered and installed a 250-hour in-tank fuel filter, and so after that is when the problem arose. And so trying to help him troubleshoot it on the phone became a pain in the butt. So we had him send it in, and what it ended up being is, and we're going to fix this right now, is so we've got a loose connector here on this red wire at this terminal. So I'll walk you through the process to resolve this. We need to overcome the little latch here on that connector. So we just get under it with the dental pick and pop it up. And you can see here as we look at this terminal that it's kind of brown. It's got some discoloration. These are silver and shiny and bright. This one's discolored, and that is the indicator that the electrical connection there was pretty flaky, and that was causing some resistance and heat buildup. So you notice here that we've got BL for blue. We want to label these wires so we make sure we get them back in the right places. The only two that you could confuse would be these. The red, obviously, you'll see in a minute, is going to go there. So BL for blue, and then white, because you got a white one there. So to remove these, you can get one of these little pin removal tools. I think we get these on Amazon, and they're, I don't know, $5-10. And on this connector here, if you look in there quite carefully, you'll see that there is a little cavity. So there's like this little spot where the tool is going to go in. This is going to depress the latch. So we're going to put that thing in there, give it a little bit of a twist, and we have to do two things at once. You have to insert that to overcome the latch, and then pull on the wire, and it'll pop right out like that. So we can do this for all of these. Okay, we got them out. Take your time, be careful with this. They'll come out for you, and then you'll see here that there is the little latch. This thing, you want that to be ready when you reinstall this. You want that to be in the up position, so you can again take this little tool and very carefully pry that up, so that will be ready to go into the little holder there on the connector body to latch that. To clean these, you can use some Scotch-Brite. If you don't have that, you could use some really fine automotive type sandpaper, really fine grit. You could also use a little brass brush. So there's little electrical brass brushes you could use. Toothpaste on a standard toothbrush, baking soda, any of those, just to clean these terminals off. And then you could also do the same thing here inside of these. You could use a brass brush or toothpaste or baking soda, again, to go in and clean those. And you can wash these off. There's no problem with getting any of this stuff wet. You can spray that off with water. You can spray this off with water. Just make sure that everything is dry before you put it all back together. You don't want to have too much moisture inside of your gas tank. So once you feel like you've got these things clean again, you can come in with some pliers, and you need to put a little tension back into the retainer here. And that's really what happened, is these little latch feet here have bowed out. And so if I take my needle nose and I very carefully apply some tension here on that, I'll be able to crimp that back down, and you can test the tug. There we go. So that feels a lot firmer than it did before. In fact, by doing that now, we have enough tension that there's a little, see how there's these holes here? There's a little detent in the back of that. And so if we have enough tension there, that detent will slip into that little hole there and hold it all the better. So that's how we prepare these terminals. Okay, we've checked our fit. We have a very, very good mechanical connection between the pin and the terminal. So we'll reinstall these back into the connector. Notice this little latch tab here, and you'll see that little spot here in the connector where that goes. So we'll pop that red one in there, and you'll hear it click once it's in, and just make sure it's caught. And then our white here. Once you're satisfied all those are in there and secured, you can go ahead and reconnect this back to the body. And there's going to be a pretty good amount of friction here because these fit so well. And it's going to go in and click. Make sure that's snapped in. These connectors down here are a little bit dodgy. They don't fit so well and they look like they've been abused a little bit. So we're going to cut these off and replace them. All right, so we'll reconnect these onto the pump motor. Those fit way better, and I could hear it click as those latched onto the motor, so those are now firmly secured. So we've just done a little electrical upgrade onto this fuel pump, so we'll give it some final checks, and we already know the pressure is good. And this one, I think, though, we said we're going to change out that pump motor, so we'll take care of that, do final testing, and then get it out to the customer. So if you have any questions about your fuel pump, fuel systems, fuel assembly on any of your bikes, KTM, Austrian, Gas, Husaberg bikes, let us know, Husqvarna. We'd be more than happy to help you out with things. Like, subscribe, go out, get some adventure.